Good afternoon, Facebook. Good afternoon, good afternoon, and good afternoon. I am Tyra Watson, and I am coming to you from the Southwest Grief Corner, located at 7901 South Kaminsky, Chicago, Illinois, 60652. Again, that is 60652. Our website is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. Again, our website is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. I am coming to you all today for the grief topic of today. Last week we talked a little bit about financial grief and insurance, which is important, and how people can be double grieved because there is no money to bury, and then having limited resources in order to take care of final business. And then, of course, letting you all know that that's something that we can assist with in order to avoid your families from having double grief. Another thing that is really kind of a caveat to that would be when we talked about pre-planning and things of that nature. One of the other things that you all can do in order to help minimize grief for your family, in order to cut out the conflict, another thing that you can do to help ease what will be a moral dilemma for certain, because we know that you love your family and we know your family loves you. And so it definitely causes a moral dilemma if a person is no longer able to make medical decisions for themselves, and now others may need to make these decisions and people don't agree, and it really is a moral dilemma when a person is on life support, and the question may come, do we disconnect or do we let them stay alive on a ventilator? And you've seen the movies, you've heard stories about how families are conflicted, and in that moment and at that time, they are sitting considering whether or not they want to pull the plug, or if they want to go ahead and hang on to hope and leave their loved one alive connected to a machine. It causes a moral dilemma. So I'm here to talk to you today, guys, about living wills and medical power of attorneys. I do know that some people actually don't know what these things are, and we're here to educate. I come to this platform to help you all in grief areas. These are the things that cause grief, that deepen grief, that cause conflict, that cause issue. And so it is my position to help you guys with these things, because the more we know, then we can start to move in accordance with that. The knowledge is power, they say. And you also, what you don't know what you don't know. So that being said, I'm here to help those without assuming that everybody knows what a living will is, without assuming that everybody knows what medical power of attorneys are. I come to talk to you guys about those things, because not only am I here to help you guys with things as it regards grief support when you're feeling sad and when you're feeling pain, I'm also here to help you guys to do things that will help minimize grief for your family. So we all know what a last will and testament is. A last will and testament basically expresses your final wishes. You typically have those drafted up by an attorney. A living will cost you, secured by an attorney, probably anywhere from $250 to $500 on average. And this basically lays out for those survivors that you leave behind exactly what you want done with your estate. So there's no confusion. Well, the last will is something that's done after you die. But the living will is something that you want to do while you're alive. Henceforth, why it's called a living will. With a living will, it expresses basically, also known as an advance directive. Depending on what state you in, they may call it, advance directive. They may call it a living will. They may call it intention for medical care. But whatever your state may call it, a living will or advance directive will allow you to make your wishes known. So we talked about pre-need and pre-planning. That way we can cut out the controversy for the family. We don't want families trying to figure out what I want you to do for me. I can do this while I'm alive and do what I'm going to do for me. The living will is the same way. You don't have to make the decisions for me. I'll make the decision for myself. I'm going to give you a copy, and in the event that I become incapacitated, in the event that I can no longer make medical decisions for myself, my living will states my wishes. A living will can also have a combination, not just of your wishes for your medical care, but anything additional that you would want to add in there, you can put in there. But the basis of your living will is specifically about what you want done in the event that you can no longer make life choices for yourself. So if you have not created a living will for yourself, you can do it through an attorney. You don't have to do it through an attorney. You can do a living will for yourself, $45 to $75. In order to do a living will, and you want to do it in accordance with your state, to do the living will, you can get a form from your doctor. It's actually a form you can do. You can download it from your state, living will state forms, and they'll, produce you the actual living will form. It'll then be state compliant to have everything in it that needs to be there. But you can also simply type it out and have it notarized. It's just simply making it known, but it's best that you use the form. You can go to your local hospital. They also have living wills and advance directives. Hospice facilities have them. State medical associations can provide you the living will form as well. And then that as you fill that particular form out, and also you can get it notarized. Notaries, of course, are not very expensive. We do provide notary service here. Then you can go ahead and in that living will, you make known to your family what you would want to happen in the event that you can no longer make decisions. Let them know that you don't want to be on the machine, or let them know, don't cut my machine off, and I stand on that. So make that known. Now, the difference between the living will and the medical power of attorney is that the medical power of attorney, whereas it doesn't regard your estate and other things, the medical power of attorney specifically will allow you to appoint a particular person to make medical decisions for you, same as the living will, in the event that you are no longer capable of making medical decisions for yourself. The nice thing about the medical power of attorney and the living will, which is kind of like, okay, well, what's the difference, or why choose one over the other, would be that for the medical power of attorney, you're going to have more flexibility. So you definitely want to have somebody that you trust, and I mean trust, to make those decisions on your behalf with your best interest at heart. So the medical power of attorney is going to be more flexible. Meaning, your living will, once you put it in writing, get it notarized, keep it on file, give a copy to your family, give a copy to your doctor. Once you've made that living will known and published it wherever it needed to go, that's what it is. It's permanent. You did it in your right mind, period. That's it. But with the medical power of attorney, it's more flexible. So let's say you did your living will 10 years ago, but we know medical science is constantly advancing and there's always something new. So let's say that you wind up stricken with a condition that now, whereas 10 years ago, they didn't have a solution or a way of treating it, but then now they do. Once they develop that new treatment, and then you end up, let's say, with a disease or a condition, then your medical power of attorney can go ahead and step in at that moment. So, and say, yeah, we're going to do this. They would want this. We definitely want to go ahead and move forward with it. A living will, not so much. Can you have a living will and a medical power of attorney? Yes, you can have both. If you have both a medical power of attorney and a living will, you just need to know that that living will is going to override the power of attorney. So if you did a living will and you did it some time ago, I would just urge you to update it. Make sure that everything that it says currently is what you still feel. If you feel like you're a little bit more liberated on the things that you're willing to do or not do, then definitely update your living will. Because if you do have that living will and that medical power of attorney, that living will overrides the medical power of attorney. Also, the person who has medical power of attorney, when you should pass on or when you should die, because here we want to get you guys comfortable with actually saying die and death, because these are things we have to confront realistically. So when you should die, then what would happen is that medical power of attorney then terminates. So not only does the medical power of attorney work as a benefit to be flexible for you, it also terminates when you die. And whatever is in that living will as far as who takes care of estates and other property, stuff like that, all of that information, a person that has medical power of attorney is strictly that, a medical POA. But I just wanted you guys to kind of understand a little bit about not only what the living will and the medical power of attorney are and what they do, but to urge you to make one. Like I said, it's pretty easy to just get the form, the template. Doctor, hospital, any local hospital, senior buildings have the living will form, state medical associations, and hospice organizations. You can get you a living will form, fill it out, give a copy to your doctor, or you can bring a copy into your funeral home, let your family know, like, hey, it's all there, whatever, whoever you feel comfortable with. But definitely make sure that you put a living will in place or a medical power of attorney. Why? To help minimize grief to the family, which is going to cause sometimes, and in a lot of cases, conflict with the family. We definitely want to be good stewards, and I definitely want to try and keep the peace with my family even when I'm not here. And so putting a medical power of attorney in place will, just like pre-planning does, it puts your wishes out there to make it known, and then those can be acknowledged at a time that maybe you need to enforce them. And again, just remember, my difference between my medical POA and my living will is going to be that the medical POA is only going to start when I cannot make medical decisions for myself, and it will end at the point that I can make medical decisions for myself. So say you have a surgery and you're down for 2-3 weeks and they've already told you that you probably will be mentally incapacitated in that time, you can assign a medical power of attorney. And once you come out of, say, that 3-week state, that medical power of attorney for that person then turns back over to you to make your own decisions. So medical power of attorneys are good. It's temporary. It doesn't give a person permanent say over your life, but then it just, like I say, it lets you trust someone to make your decisions for you. Either way it goes, you should have one or the other. If you have both, know that your living will is going to override your medical POA. So make sure that your living will is updated. After you get that done, if you need it notarized, come by and see us. We would be more than happy to notarize it for you. Again, we are here for you. We do have an attorney, Attorney Barclay, and the Barclay Law Group. We have that information under our grief resources on our website, which is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. Again, that is www.southwestfunerallandcremation.com. Attorney Barclay's information is there. You can reach him or his associates, and they will be more than happy. If you need to draft out a will, if you want to do it under a lawyer, you can do that. They do living wills too. And make sure that those things are in order for you. Of course, obviously, you can do your medical POA with the attorney Barclay and his group, but they work with us to work with our families to help you, again, get things in order, to help you try and minimize grief to your family. So this is about preparing our selves to make sure that our families are okay, and that our wishes are expressed and they're made known. So this is our conversation today on living wills and medical power of attorneys. I hope that it was helpful to you. Next week we're going to come back and we're going to talk about something else. And I hope again that this is beneficial to you. Again, our website for grief resources, as I stated, Attorney Barclay and his associates, their information is there. Also, you will find information for other things related to grief in addition to other therapists that can help you and meet you where you are in your grief process. My name is Tyra Watson. I am the aftercare director here, as well as the funeral director intern. If you have any questions, please give us a call, 773-424-3151. Again, our number here is 773-424-3151. It has been a pleasure. I pray you guys have an amazing day. Have a safe weekend. Remember, COVID is still very real. So social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands. Be very aware of what's going on. Keep your head on a swivel. And remember that this is not something that we can see, but we just have to be proactive so that we're not reactive. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. And if you have any questions, again, give us a call. In the meantime, visit the website, southwestfunerallandcremation.com. Thank you.